It's so coincidental that we happen to just have gotten through a hurricane with the Fear the Walking Dead group, and now we're getting ready to face our own hurricane.
That one's bearing down on us.
Hurricane Florence, right? Which
that sounds right.
I think I have an aunt or a cousin named Florence. I need to call her and be like, Florence, cut this out.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Thank goodness I have a, excuse my language here, but a shit hits the fan box in my basement. I've had one for a long time with, candles, flashlights, batteries, radio, just all of this stuff. And it's one of those things where I hated to spend the money at the time, but now that I might actually use it with the Category 4 hurricane coming through, it might pay off.
Yeah, I don't have a shit hits the fan box, but I do have a box to shit in case there's no running water.
Yeah,
so.
you don't want to do that in the floor.
I can share it with the cat,
Yeah, hey, you can. Maybe the kitty litter. Okay,
yeah,
you know what? We're talking about your pooping habits, but yeah, I guess kitty litter would be better than the floor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clean it up and put it in a bag. But we're bracing for Hurricane Florence, but I'm glad that we get to do this podcast before she makes her way here. Obviously, I don't know what's going to be the case. It's supposed to get here around Thursday, Friday. So I'm hoping we'll still be able to podcast by Monday or Tuesday of next week, but I don't know. Nonetheless, once everything's back to normal, we will have a podcast up. But so if there's not one next week, that's probably what's going on. Yeah. Just a little, full warning there.
Hopefully we don't end up in a flooded basement with me begging you to, shoot me in the head.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's always the worst case scenario.
My basement is, too. Like, my basement is one of those basements that's, like, straight up underground.
Oh, yeah,
so if it started flooding, you could definitely wind up in that situation. But let's hope that doesn't happen.
No
I've got my drain out front cleaned out, so... So, yeah, we've gotten through, man, it's hard to believe how fast we're moving through this. We just got through Season 4, Episode 13, and this one was called Blackjack, right?
I believe you're right.
Blackjack. Yeah. Blackjack. So, we get to see, number one, that Wendell has some go-go gadget type machinery on the back of his wheelchair.
Oh, yeah, man.
That was badass. Like, he's like, I got it.
Yeah, they did some handy-dandy engineering, post-apocalypse. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see how he had that rigged up. That was really cool. Might be useful, useful to know. Maybe have that on your, like, a backpack or something, just in case, somebody, zombies get behind you can ching.
Yeah, and, being in a wheelchair, if he flips over backwards, maybe that could kind of pop him back upright,
That's a smart thought, yeah. Yeah, definitely more useful on a wheelchair than your back, but, it is still cool. So we finally got, and of course, I hate that I even have to say this, but spoilers. I hope that you know that, but just in case, spoilers. We're going to completely spoil this episode. So if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it before you go scouring YouTube for stuff on it. But we finally get to meet Polar Bear.
Yeah.
The original driver of that transfer truck, or is his real name Clayton.
Yeah, turns out the fellow that had the "Take What You Need" written on his forehead was not the truck driver they stole the rig from. So,
yep. What
just
a
some
sad
poor,
meeting,
unfortunate
too.
soul.
He just seemed like a nice, friendly guy that you could, sit down and have a beer with, and kind of had some like Signs action going there. Remember, have you seen Signs with Mel Gibson?
Absolutely. I saw it in theaters.
I did too. Remember when his wife's being like held together by the car?
Yeah, man.
It's kind of the same situation where they're like, the car's the only thing holding her together. He had a very similar situation when he's like, the car is, this is the only thing keeping me together.
Yeah, and he'd been there for a while too.
At least he got to have him a cold beer.
I know, man. Luciana's just a angel of mercy.
She is. She's a saint. Definitely went through a lot to get him this beer. Just searched everywhere. When she found the root beer, I was so happy, and then immediately bummed, but then kind of happy because I like root beer. I'm like the only person I know that actually drinks root beer, but which I don't drink it regularly, but I enjoy it. But It was root beer, nonetheless. Damn it.
Yeah, would you believe I've never tried root beer?
Everything, you've never tried it ever in your life?
It just seems like a bizarre drink. I don't know. Root beer? Come on.
I think if you haven't had it by this point in your life, then you're probably not going to like it. But I could be completely wrong. I'm more than willing to go buy us one each after the podcast and let you try it.
I'll give it some thought. But Polar Bear, she knew he didn't want no root beer. So
everything kind of comes around full circle this episode. You get that? Like how everything comes back around. It's this guy was leaving boxes, which, then was stolen from him and then taken back over by Morgan. And inevitably, it's this guy's generosity that inspired Morgan to continue this, in which case ended up allowing him to have his last request before he died. It just, everything kind of came back around this episode.
It was, man. A full circle, beautiful thing, bringing everybody back together. Well, almost everyone back together. Strand and, John Dory, definitely,
right. That's what I was going to say. I liked so much about this episode. Start doing this more, and I promise you, I don't think you'll have near as many complaints. I love the multiple storylines. I think that's the way they need to stick. It doesn't, stick to. It doesn't, to me at least, and just judging by the reactions I see from people on, oh, this was a boring episode, or oh, this. When you have multiple storylines going on like this, it keeps it fresh. If this one kind of starts getting a little boring, then you shift gears and go to this one, and then by the time you get, you're wondering what's happening in this other way. I love that. I think that with the three storylines we had going here, the Morgan and his group storyline, the Strand and John Dory, and then the Luciana and Clayton storyline, I hope they will start doing that in the upcoming season of The Walking Dead, too.
It would be nice. And finally got to touch base with Alicia and Charlie again.
And Alicia and Charlie, even though we didn't see much of them, we still did get a glimpse of them, right as you found where they were calling her the filthy lady, but now they're calling her the mysterious lady, right?
Really? Even the little, I pulled up like a little rundown just so I didn't miss any details, but they're still calling her on some mediums the filthy lady.
I think the mysterious lady is what most people were going with.
Is that the more accepted?
I think
vernacular?
So. I think so, just from the things that I've read. But right before she pulled up beside him and opened up a can of whoop ass, unleashing those machine guns.
Yeah, man, it went from Smokey and the Bandit to Mad Max real quick.
Yeah, it did. Woo. And I don't know who's, if anybody gets, because from the scenes I saw for the next episode, it looked like everyone made it out pretty unscathed. But
I didn't see the preview for next week.
It could be, it could not be. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people to keep up with. There could easily be someone I wasn't thinking about that's been very hurt by this. So we'll wait and see, but it looks like we're heading on a one-way path to Morgan versus this lady.
Yeah, I mean, he still wants to save her. Morgan's heart is still in the right place. You got to give it to him.
It was interesting. She said she knew who Morgan was, which I wonder if she just heard him on his when he was, which I don't know, because then they were like, what is she talking about?
Well, she has access to all of the tapes, right? All the interviews. Didn't he spill some?
Yeah, maybe so. That's a good thought.
His nefarious past.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Maybe you. Yeah, that's. I didn't think about that.
So that could be it. I don't know. Could have been sitting there with her zombie-fied pal and just watching home movies and having a good old time.
Oh, she just got it. They're just watching it. She's got him like chained up. She's eating popcorn and he's like reaching for it. And she's like, "Stop."
She just wants some company, that's all. But if she'd stop killing people, she'd have way better
company. If you didn't turn everyone that you hung out with into zombies, or everyone that you encountered, then you probably would have a lot more friends.
I mean, imagine having like a fresh corpse just in that van with you.
Bad, it's got a stink.
I was going to say, man, yeah, the smell.
Duties in the drawers and.
Whew.
The human body goes through some very disgusting processes when you die. So you just got that chilling beside you, and it's gross. It's a gross thought, dude. It's a gross thought. I loved when Sarah pulls her knife on Morgan, and it just gives it that real quick flick of the wrist. He's just pow, smacks it out of her hand, and she's like, okay. He's a badass, man. I love Morgan so much. I really hope this season's not going to kill him. I want to see Morgan continue. Sometimes characters get stale and you're kind of ready for them to go. I'm sorry to all the Daryl fans out there, but yes, I'm looking at you, Daryl Dixon. But I'm not ready for Morgan to go yet. I just really enjoy his character, man.
Yeah, man, I'm glad Wendell didn't try to pull a shotgun out on him again or anything.
Like back up to him real slow when he's not paying attention and
porcupine him. But,
that's a good term for what Wendell's wheelchair does. He porcupines.
I guess so.
I like that. That's a good term.
We got a nice little point system for killing walkers. Mm-hmm. That's good.
He speared, and then Sarah came up and killed the one that he speared. So technically, she got the points.
She did get the points,
even though he had the badass porcupine spikes.
It's good they're finding a way to have fun, though. That's the main thing.
You got to have fun when you're killing stuff, right? But yeah, I thought this was a great episode. I thought it was another strong episode, especially showing the multiple storylines, man. I'm a big fan of that format. And that might just be me. Some people might enjoy the more intense kind of character study, drawn out episodes, to which I don't. If you go back and listen to the last few podcasts, I've rated a lot of them really good. I like multiple. It just feels like the story is moving along at a better pace when we are able to watch everyone's story simultaneously. And speaking of everyone's story, how excited were you to be back in the loving arms of Victor Strand?
I couldn't have made it through another episode if it hadn't been some Strand. No, but would you have got on a raft with John Dory? When all Huck Finn with him?
I don't think that I would have got on what he created, knowing that there was a giant, hungry alligator out there. No, I probably would. I mean, I would have gotten on something a little sturdier or bigger if we could have concocted it, but I wouldn't have trusted duct tape. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm from the South, man. Duct tape fixes everything. I actually fixed a water pipe with it in my basement a few months ago, and it's holding up strong. But I wouldn't trust duct tape to hold together a raft that's got to get me across a big river with a hungry gator coming at me, which I guess it could be. I guess they were insinuating it was one gator, but man, it could have been multiple gators out there. Could
have been family of gators. But John Dory, man, going all MacGyver on this one, and
I don't know that did he ever get it. Did he ever kill it? I mean, I know he shot at it a lot.
Yeah, I don't think that gun would have killed no big old gator. How you know more about these guns than I do?
Oh, I mean, the question is, could it have gotten through the water to kill him? Yeah. I mean, as far as putting it in his head, I mean, I don't know. If he's just shooting 45s, then shot to the head could probably put it down. But I mean, they have tough hides too, so
man.
The water slowing it down and then it trying to break through the hide. I guess it could be some challenges to it, but
I think that gator's definitely still out there.
I mean, he's a hungry gator too, man. He's eating all. I guess what's happening though, because we were sitting there watching it, and I was thinking, but like, it's kind of like the Jurassic Park issues, like when they stumble upon a T-Rex that's eating a freshly killed corpse, and then it just leaves a guaranteed meal to chase after something it doesn't even know it's going to catch, and possibly lose its meal to something else. Most animals don't work that way. If lions in the wild are sitting there digging into a carcass and you keep your distance, you could probably get by it with no problem. The main thing it would worry about is you trying to take its food more than, let's leave this guaranteed meal and go chase after these other ones, So I was like, why would the gator but I mean, then again, it was probably pulling these walkers underwater and just kind of was like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like thinking it had a meal, and then it was just rotted corpses, so it probably was like, ooh, fresh meat. And that's probably why it was so persistent on getting John and Strand. But that was some tense moments, man. I like this show's ability to keep the challenges new and fresh. I mean, that's something we've never seen before. Really hadn't had many animal issues in this show. I mean, we've had some wild dogs attack Rick and his group in The Walking Dead, which became meals. We haven't really had many animals being challenges in this show. So it's really cool because, I mean, it'd be cool to see a crazed bear, with the civilization kind of falling back the last few years. These animals are kind of reclaiming the earth, and, they're probably losing their fear of.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see like a wild pack of emu, rolling around, just, going wild. I don't know. But, man, Victor Strand's still the luckiest man in the Walking Dead universe. He got his bottle.
I thought he got bit.
You think he got bit?
No, I don't think now, but I had thought when that truck rolled.
Don't tell me that.
I thought he had gotten bit. I was like, oh, man, he got bit. And no, he seems unscathed. He got him a bottle, and that zombie ate a branch.
Yeah, man. And it was cool that they show that he's still, mourning the loss of Madison, the loss of Nick. He's he's drinking, but he's he doesn't have his drinking buddy. I think we can all,
I like that, showing that they, because we knew they meant something to him, but it's not something you really saw a lot of because we've seen Strand flip-flop so much and betray people. And so it was nice to see that, these deaths are really affecting him, especially Madison. Like I said, Madison was kind of like his, I don't know, man. I mean, I dare say driving force, not in the sense of like he loved her like that. They weren't a romantic interest, obviously, but I mean, she pushed him to be better and she called him on his BS and, just was I miss Madison. I liked Madison.
As did I, man.
I miss Nick. That's who I miss. I think Nick was just awesome. Such a great character. I hate that he wanted to leave this show.
Yeah,
I hate it.
I wonder what he's up to now, Or maybe he just wanted to leave it on a high note. Maybe he saw that it wasn't going to be the show that he started out on and was like, man, peace. I'm gone.
Oh,
but
man.
Hadn't you said that he actually wanted to leave like in season 3 or something?
That's what, I think I had read he wanted to leave a while back. But I mean, at least they took him out in an extremely memorable way. Gosh, that's one of the biggest twists for me in any of the Walking Deads. Because when that happened, I'm just like, what? There's no way he's not going to die from this. And then you realize, oh my God, he's dead.
Yeah, and it's nice they didn't just kind of gloss over it. You see Luciana still dealing with Nick's death, kind of trying to make up for losing him by helping Polar Bear kind of, fade out easily. And
very touching scene with them when she said, the last time someone, she was with someone who was dying, there was nothing she could do to help them or make them feel better. And, she wanted to do the same for this guy. I thought it was very I like that. Like I said, I mean, of course, it all comes around full circle, but I like the interaction between her and Clayton. I like the actor that played him. He seemed to be a very, he just had that kind of warm feeling about himself and very calm for a man who's being held together by a car.
Yeah, I think he just, at that point had accepted his fate. And like going into that, when she was first starting to like look for the beer, I was like, all right, this is going to be kind of like the sappy, boring storyline of this episode. But I ended up really, really enjoying it.
Yeah, well, just showing how hard it was, too. It painted a good picture of just how things had been picked by scavengers and just how much, these things aren't available like you would think, at this point in the apocalypse. Which I need to go back and watch the episode, so I'm not going to say definite, so don't tear me up too bad in the comments section. But it looked like he just hit a light pole. I need to go back and look at it, but it was one scene where, they showed the outside of the car, and I'm kind of like, he hit a light pole.
Yeah,
I've got a cousin who isn't, who
his light poles a lot?
No, but she did somehow in a Walmart parking lot. Hit one of the huge empty parking lot, and somehow she did hit a light pole, and she was going pretty fast. But she was out, outside of the car. So I have to go back and look and see what kind of what it looked like. But to me, I'm just like, he just hit a light pole. Unless there was some other parts of the wreck and then he kind of ended at the light pole. You know what I mean? He could have rolled or smacked this and that, and then slammed into the pole. But if all he did was hit a light pole, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't have
Yeah, because he said he'd been like that since the storm, so maybe the storm,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, it could have kind of wound up there. But, I was like, this car doesn't look all that bad against a light pole. But, again, I've only watched the episode one time, so I need to go back through and kind of watch it a second time. But I really like the interaction between him and Luciana. We're kind of really working to get the group back together now. But, of course, this lady does not want to allow it.
No, man. Can't just go shooting up people's trucks. What's wrong with her?
The nerve. Honestly, who does she think she is?
I don't know, man, but she's just on this one-woman mission to apparently, like, anyone she doesn't think is strong enough, zombify them.
She's like the hero of her own story.
Yeah.
In her head, she hears the movie trailer guys like, one woman. It's like, doom, 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 doom. In a world of weak people.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to get an episode like some mysterious or filthy or whatever lady, get some backstory on her, exactly what turned her so crazy.
I hope so, man. I kind of how I've been hoping they do a backstory on Negan in the Walking Dead series.
Yeah.
We've gotten it in the comics, but it'd be really cool to see it in the show. I hope they do, just to show us why this woman is thinking and doing the things that she is,
Yeah, it'd be cool if, she just was in a mental institution when everything went south, because, you got to think there'd be some crazy folks running around.
That's true.
I wouldn't imagine they'd just keep everyone locked up, when everything started going bad. Although I guess that's what happened at the prison, though. All the inmates were just kind of SOL and
just left them. Because the sad thing is it's that when humanity breaks down, there are people that care about others, but a large number of people are only out for self-preservation. So they will just, once there are no rules and the world's ending, these people are like, to hell with these. Like, then not my problem anymore. No. Which, luckily you do have your select few. Remember in season 1 of The Walking Dead, you had the guys that were running the nursing home.
Oh, right.
They all of the people had just been left by the staff. So these two awesome guys, stayed to take care of them and just started recruiting people as they went along, which unfortunately that place fell too.
Yeah, but I was going to say, wasn't there like a deleted scene or something that came out later that they had all perished?
Yeah, you can go back and find it where they go back for them, I guess, and they're all gone. The place is overrun, but it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, they made it for a good while, Can't fault them for trying. I'd have said, sorry, Grandma, I got to go.
You mean to tell me, for those that don't know, JP's one of the most important people in his life is a lovely lady named Granny Nana.
Oh, yeah.
And you're trying to tell me that in the zombie apocalypse, you would just leave Granny Nana without any hesitation?
Shoot, brother. She would head to Olive Garden. She would hold those people at gunpoint, eat pasta until, until it won't no pasta left. She'd be the queen of Olive Garden, and that'd be it.
Zombies are attacking. I got to get to the Olive Garden.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, man. She would.
I love Olive Garden too, but I don't know that it's my first thought of where I'm going to go in the apocalypse.
Oh no, she'd be the Negan of Olive Garden. That much I can tell you.
Did I catch you taking some shrimp out the back?
Yeah.
Get on your knees.
Yeah. Hey, that's how it would be going down. I hate to say it.
Meanie, miney.
Yeah.
Granny Nana don't play.
No.
But so you don't think Granny Nana would need protecting?
No, man. If anything, I'd be coming to her for protection. You get what I'm saying?
A pack of Virginia Slims and a
Misty Lights.
Misty Lights. Yeah, sorry, that's right.
Virginia Slims, man.
Misty Lights. A pack of Misty Lights, and what will be her weapon of choice? Paint us a picture of Granny Nana in the apocalypse.
Oh man. Oh, geez.
Is she my grandmother, who is no longer with us, was a pistol-packing granny. That woman, at no point, never not had a pistol in her purse. Has even had to pull it on a person or two who came to her house at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and one guy was trying to sell her meat at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So that didn't.
So is that like a
sounded suspicious?
Like a gigolo? Like
no.
Going door to door trying.
Like literally, the guy was like, "I've got fresh cuts of ribeyes and sirloin, and I got pork and so and so." And then when she told him, she's like, "I'm not interested. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I have to be up in an hour."
Right.
She was older.
Yeah.
He stuck his foot in the door and was like, "But ma'am, let me tell you," started getting kind of aggressive. So she pulled the gun on him, pulled it out. She always kept it with her. She said, "And give you this one warning to get off my porch. Get back in your truck and go, or I'm going to shoot you." He's like, "Okay." And They told that story at a funeral. So my grandmother was more of the pistol packing type. But what would Granny Nana's weapon of choice be? Would she flick the cigarette butts at the walkers and catch them on fire?
No, she just kind of bends people to her will, so she wouldn't have to get
Professor
her hands
X?
dirty.
She's got mind control?
I've often wondered. Yeah.
Interesting. So I still just think it's cool if she had a water gun soaked with gasoline in it, and she's spraying the zombies and flicking the cigarette butts at them and catching them on fire.
Oh man, we might have to do some experimentation. I don't know.
Just
ooh, hello. Whew.
Stay away from my shrimp.
Yeah.
Granny Nana. But, I know you were excited to get back to Strand and John, and it was such an interesting place to be, man. Them two at a shack. I watched a little bit of The Talking Dead. I always try not to because I don't want to, copy their points too much. I love it, and it sucks not to watch it. I usually go back and watch it after we've watched these episodes, after we've podcasted. But I did see where they were interviewing Strand, and he pointed out something I didn't think of, and he said, what an interesting choice of people to put stuck together. You've got two people that really couldn't be more opposite than John and Victor. I mean, one is just hope is lost, whatever. I'm just going to drown in my sorrow and to hell with everything else versus you got a pessimist and an optimist. And then you've got, John Dory that can't lose faith. And I mean, is even going on with the hopes of giving this candy to June. And I mean, just really is and it really, I felt so bad for John when Strand's like, I only got on that raft because I felt sorry for you.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, oh, don't tell him that, man. Poor Dory. I love John Dory, man. He's so awesome. He's such a good character. And when that boat went down, I really did think one of them was going to get attacked by a gator. I was kind of on the edge of my seat.
Man, which would you rather be eaten alive by, a zombie or a gator? That's a tough one.
I don't know, man. The gator would suck, but I feel like the gator would be faster. I mean, they thrash you around and hold you underwater. And really, a lot of the way that gators kill is drowning.
Right.
So that, I don't know. That might not be faster. That might be slower and more painful. But I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know. I just still feel like you'd go quicker with the gator as opposed to. Are you talking about like a horde of walkers or one walker?
Yeah,
one walker would be so slow. I mean, human jaws just aren't that big, and they don't have that much bite force, and they just gnaw at you. You know what I mean? Just like chew like through your throat. I just feel like the alligator, as painful and scary as it would probably be over quicker than like a solitary zombie. Now, a horde of zombies, it might be a different story. But
oh, no, man. No good choices there. That's for sure.
That's why I would stay away from large bodies of water in the apocalypse. That's why I stay away. Well, I don't stay away now because I pretty much live at the beach and the lake. But still, I wouldn't go in out. That's why I love where we are. Like we were talking about last podcast. Don't really have to worry about much of that here.
No, not
maybe
a
garfish or two, but snapping turtle.
Yeah, I might would try to find an island like out on the river or the lake, or I don't know.
That was your original plan, right? I think we actually talked about that in a podcast, or maybe just you and I had talked about it. But in the zombie apocalypse, JP has a boat and has said that once he gets it fixed, that would be his zombie apocalypse plan, right? Just boat on out to the middle of a lake.
Yeah, well, there's this mountain lake, about an hour north of here, and they have like nice little islands, and the water is so deep, it'd be perfect.
The zombies couldn't walk to you. Really, your only danger would be other people.
That's true. But yeah, it was great here in Strand, as John Dory's fashioning his raft, I gave up boating some time ago or something like that. That was a nice
knowing that. Too bad you burnt your boat, Strand.
Yeah, the Abigail would really come in handy. Oh, I mean, not in that situation. That's definitely not big enough for the Abigail. But.
I mean, it might have been. You just would have went through really quick. You know what I mean? Here we go. We're there. Definitely wouldn't have had to worry about no gator taking down the Abigail.
No way, Jose.
Would have tried to have somehow lured the gator onto land to kill it. I think would have been my thing.
Man, like wrestle the alligator? Like do some good old-fashioned alligator wrestling?
Do something at the edge of the water to get it to kind of lunge out of the water so you can get a good clean shot at it without the water to shield it from the bullets,
I don't know.
Because otherwise, I'm not going into that water.
They needed that dude from Swamp People. That's who they needed.
Oh, man, it would have been over and done real quick.
Yeah.
He'd have been dragging that gator back by its head.
Oh, man. It'd be great to have like a Cajun Walking Dead, just them riding around on fan boats. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Louisiana, so I can say, some of them speak in ways that you just can't understand.
I always think of Farmer Fran from the Water Boy.
I think
Esquilioto. By the way, we love our Louisiana listeners. Not trying to disparage.
Like anyone. I said, I'm from, and that's just like your Creole or whatever. And that's just like that's from I had read when Louisiana was part of France or whatever, and. Then we bought it, and there was some French, still there. But no, I mean, I have lots of great people in Louisiana. People with my Southern accent are always like, "Oh, how you doing, man?"
Yeah, we got
all
some
my Northern
friends up here too. That's for sure.
We got some people here. Because we work at radio stations, so I'll have someone call and be like, "Oh, y'all blame morning out getting dinner, boy," and you're like, "All right, Boomhauer, what'd you say? Can you run that back?" Oh, but I'm trying to think anything. I mean, we've got the whole group. We've seen the whole group in one episode, so that's good. No wondering where's who this episode.
Yeah, almost everyone's back together. They just got to, round up John and Strand.
This is why you don't split up to begin with.
Yeah, always a good policy.
Just stay together from the beginning, man. You get tired of each other going different rooms, but we see that Strand and John didn't get very far, apparently, hunting for Charlie.
If it had been you in that camper raft, would you have tried to get to the other side of the canal or whatever? Or
no, Strand was right on that, man. You've got a killer croc who's been fiercely defending that side of that river. So no, I mean, it could have made it. I'm not saying it was impossible for him to make it, but I think the odds were more in his favor to go back than. Which anytime there's an alligator in the water and you're thrashing around, it's not good because that's what attracts them. The sound of an animal in peril. It sounds like an easier meal. Same thing with sharks. They feel thrashing to them. That's a dinner bell. So I don't know, man. I just wouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. I'd have been like, John, I want a straight up kayak or canoe, something made for this. Which a little kayak, he'd have been in a lot of trouble too, but at least I could have, I don't know. I just wouldn't have trusted the camper raft.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
But some tense stuff from this episode, I got to say. It was a really good one. I guess it's time to rate it. Is there anything else we're not thinking about?
We talked about the mysterious, filthy woman. I think I'm just going to hyphenate it, mysterious, filthy. And she's up to no good as usual in a war of philosophies with Morgan. And everybody's back together up in the big rig except for Strand and John.
Yep. I'm thinking we got most of it. We'll see how everyone's going to reconnect. We're only, 3 episodes away from the finale?
I believe so. Just an uplifting episode, man. Well, I mean, obviously until the end. And not so uplifting on the Strand and John side. But.
So a kind of uplifting. The Luciana part was uplifting for you, right?
Yeah, and everyone coming back together, in the big rig. That was nice.
The band's back together, kind of.
Sort of, yeah.
So let's put our hands under the desk and let's rate this episode.
All right.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, I gave it a 4 and you gave it a 5. Now, keep in mind, we're talking out of 5 stars. Y'all are 5 points. You're giving it 5 out of 5.
I thought it was perfect, man. I thought it was perfect.
Nice. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I felt like there could have been a little bit more. I'm not even going to try to point out bad things. I really enjoyed it. And a 4 out of 5 is pretty good. But a 5 out of 5, JP was thrilled with it.
Yeah, I mean, you get the return of Victor Strand.
That's why you gave it a 5 out of 5. Yeah, it is, because you finally got Victor Strand back.
Beautiful, beautiful episode.
It was a very, very, very well done episode. I hope they'll take note of and continue to start doing these split up instead of single episodes on 1 or 2 people. Start doing this flashing around, showing us Luciana's having a story. I know that probably for the writers it's a little bit. I would think it'd be a little bit more of a challenge because you have to. They got to fill 16 episode seasons. Shows like Game of Thrones only have to do 10. So it's easier for them to kind of. If anything, they probably would like to have the extra episodes to explain some stuff out, but. Still, man, this is the pacing. The pace of this episode is what I like.
Yeah,
this is what,
a lot going on, lots of questions to be answered. Do you think maybe that the filthy, mysterious woman maybe has a tie to Morgan way back, like pre-Eastman? I know that's a little far-fetched because they're all the way in Texas or whatever, but maybe he heard someone that was close to her. I know
if he hadn't seen her, I'd be like, dude, maybe it's his wife.
Well,
which we know she was a zombie, but I'm just saying, maybe crazy fan theory.
Yeah, maybe his first wife, but I don't know. Maybe he killed somebody close to her when he was, on his trek.
It could have been.
Eastman. I mean, I know that. Like I said,
maybe she was with the Saviors or something. Yeah, I'm interested to see this backstory. It would be cooler than just having a regular old. Oh, here's another crazy off their rocker villain. Let's defeat them and move on. Give us some backstory here, some consequence to more. This could be a consequence of Morgan's actions. Is someone's coming after him now because of something he's done in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to get too far-fetched, but I mean, maybe she's been, shadowing Morgan and now's, she's been hatching this plan the whole time. I don't know.
I'd be fine if she was the wife of a savior or, somebody that he killed, along the way, and she just had kind of followed him immediately after.
We'll have to wait and find out.
I got a feeling she's just a random woman.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
But it would be cool if there was some kind of Morgan connection. I'm trying to think, because Morgan's killed a lot of people.
He's killed a lot of people.
It's a lot of saviors whose husband she, could have been, or which has he killed many? I mean, several female. I mean, maybe she's not into dudes, so if she, I'm sure has Morgan killed any females?
Not that I've seen, but.
It's a lot of saviors have died. So there's a lot of people that could have been. It could have been her friend. It could have been her kid. It's just the possibilities are endless. There could have been a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, son, daughter, somebody that Morgan's group had. So, I mean, it would be cool to see that, but I don't know, man. I'm like you. I don't want it to be too far-fetched.
It does need to get convoluted. But
it could be one of those things where she saw him, they just got done with the war between the Saviors and them. So maybe she saw him leaving and decided to follow him because she wasn't cool with the whole Saviors and Alexandrians becoming friends.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, she does have the tapes in the big van, so she might have just got his backstory there.
Yeah, you're right. And
we'll have to wait and see.
In all likelihood, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have to go back and watch the tape, though. How much could she get from the tape? I mean, what all did he explain? What all did he, confess to doing on the tapes?
Yep, I don't know.
Oh, well, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, so hopefully before the hurricane, we will be able to get a comic podcast in here, our Pull List podcast, which is new. So if you're into comics, do us favors and go watch that because it needs all the views it can get because it's a new podcast. Mm-hmm. But it's a playlist on our page called the Pull List Podcast. Please, if you are in the path of this hurricane, take it seriously, man. Do not just take it lightly. I mean, go to the store. Like we were talking about this before we got on the mic. A lot of people dread going to the grocery stores and fighting the crowds and the madness in a crisis situation so much that they're almost willing to risk their life to avoid that inconvenience. Go to a gas station. Lots of gas stations have non-perishable foods. They have water. They have things that you need. Go to a Family Dollar, Dollar General. There are a lot of places if you don't want to go to, and that's mostly what I hear when I talk to people that are like, if it's a big snowstorm coming, or in the case of this hurricane, they'll say something like, I don't feel like fighting the crowds, man. I think I'm good. Better to know you're good and not need that stuff, man. Seriously, if you're in the path of this, please take it serious. We want you safe.
Yeah. I mean, you saw what happened to Polar Bear, so there you go.
Yeah, that's going to be my driving force from here out.
Yeah.
But luckily, I already have a SHTF box.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
My girlfriend was like, are you excited you finally get to use your box? I was like, no, I don't want to use it. But, so take this serious. Make sure you're stocked up on supplies. Plenty of a pet. If you got a pet, you need plenty of
I bought some cat food.
Yeah. Gotta get you got to take care of your pet, too. So just be safe, please. If you are a regular listener and you're in the affected area as this thing progresses, at some point on one of our videos, please comment that you are safe so that we know that, people are. This is a big deal, man. I want to make sure that people are taking it safe, and we definitely want everyone to make it through this.
Ideally, yeah.
So, but we will catch you hopefully Wednesday or Thursday for a Pull List podcast. And then after that, well, who knows? We're just going to have to wait and see what happens with this hurricane.
That's all we can do.
But you be safe, and we thank you so much for listening. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dead.
Yep.